welcome back to another episode of Paint Sipping Relationships. And today's topic is going straight to it because I think it's one of those scenarios where people just, it happens, basically. And it's going to be interesting to see how my take on it. And of course, my lovely host, Rain Congrejo, welcome. How are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. I am good, and this topic, I'm gonna take the first lead on this one because because it gets right to the point, and the topic is how to ruin a good relationship.
Right.
Wow. Okay. So, how to ruin a good relationship? Put yourself first, maybe. That's a good way to ruin it. I think when you're not considering the other person, you're not considering their thoughts, who they are, what they're about, what would they like in a situation, you know. I
Hmm.
think that's a good way to ruin it. I mean, do things that you guys never, don't follow any boundaries that you guys have set up.
Hmm.
Just run them up. Just be buck wild out there. Hey, I feel like, what I'm saying? Like, she don't like me going to strip clubs, but hell, I'm going to a strip club. Forget it. And I'm just gonna wild out tonight. Okay. At the end of that, then what did that get you? You know what I'm saying? Like a whole lot of heartache, headache, and everything else, right? Great way to ruin a relationship. Don't report to work. Treat it like a job. Excuse me. Okay. I come into work every day. I'm supposed to show up every day, right? In the relationship, it's a partnership. You are supposed to be showing up to do your best in this relationship with this person that you are saying is your partner, right? When you stop caring, you stop not wanting to be with this person, you stop showing up, you start being inconsistent. Great way to ruin a relationship.
True.
I know fellas is like, wait a minute now, come on. Yes, I'm not saying you can't do things that you want to do. I'm just saying communication. Let's stop communicating with each other. Is a great way to ruin a relationship because now I'm not even speaking to you. It's a difference in speaking to you or speaking with you and speaking at you, right? It's a difference. When I'm speaking with you, I'm speaking and then waiting for your response to that. And together we are communicating, right? But when it's just my way or the highway, no, that ain't gonna fly. That's a great way to run a relationship. So these are just a few of many. But I think that to be in all honesty, no jokes aside, just being blunt and straight, I just feel like when you don't think about that person, the things you do, how is that affecting the person? I think that's where the problem starts. What about you?
Hmm. Listening to other people.
Mm,
I think that's a big no-no. Um, Listening to your family, listening to your kids, um, and not really having the conversations you should be with the person that you're involved in. I think that can actually really um, totally obliviate the relationship. Um, I think you have to, it's always, I don't believe in 50-50 relationships. And the reason I don't is because somebody's always going to be giving more at different times depending on what is going on.
that's
And
true.
so and so people really need to understand there you will never ever find our relationship is 50-50. Um but what I do understand, and you know this about me, is I truly believe in love language.
Hmm.
And by knowing your own love language and by knowing the other person's love language, um, you work together to, you're always trying to outdo each other. So you don't have time for the pettiness because you're too busy trying to please the other person,
Right.
and make them feel comfortable, within within the relationship. And so I think, that will bring either you closer together, or it's going to pull you apart, because you're not willing to, again, be that selfless type of person in a relationship. And I truly believe that I need my self maintenance. I need my self care. And we can talk about that on another thing, the difference between those two. But
Mm-hmm.
I need that. But then when I come back, I'm coming back, I'm not half of you. I'm whole of you. We're two whole people, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and we're living in this universe, and we're making whatever we decide the relationship to be. So I don't allow other people, I don't allow society to tell me how I should be in my relationship. Because then again, I could come home to you and say, well, honey, I saw this on TV and they said that this was good and we should be doing this. And you're going to be like, yeah, that don't work for me. And it may
Right.
not work for our relationship. And so, as a unit, you've got to be able to talk about the things that will work and the things that won't work for you, and not allow what you see on TV, on these reality shows, or you see in a movie, which is meant to make you feel some type of way as far as emotion, realizing that that might not be how your mate is. So you got to find what is his or her love language, and really hone in on that. And if you don't do that, you're going to kill it quicker than you think.
Mm-hmm.
That's my 2 cents.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So you mean no matter what your girlfriend or your homeboys who claim they know what it takes to make a relationship work, not listening to them, right? Because you're the one that's in the relationship, not them,
The
right?
only time I can honestly tell you, the only time that I ever listen to people in relationships are those that have been married 40, 50, 60 years. Then you have the right to give me advice.
Right.
If you are just dating, or if you have just been together 2 or 3 years, no, babe, you ain't been through the storm yet.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so, until you've been through the storm, I think at one point we were going to talk about, when does the marriage actually start? The marriage doesn't start when you say I do. You
Right.
know, the marriage actually starts is when you get ready to go through that, when you're going through that storm, and you're going to see how you're going to come out on the other side.
Facts.
So, um, it's just, I don't listen to what other people say. And I can tell you, I made some very bad mistakes early on, um, earlier years, where I was listening to people say, oh, well, if you haven't been with him for, 3 to 6 months, then don't bring them around. Or if
Right.
you haven't been, and I'm thinking to myself, well, we don't want to talk about your dirty laundry.
Right.
Um, so if you can't say that, because I think people have to look at their own relationship before they start talking about somebody else's.
Right.
Because we don't know what's behind that relationship. I don't want to know what's behind that. I got a hard enough time trying to keep up with my own relationship, but I'm not going to listen to somebody else again who's either A, dating, or B, you've been married like 2 seconds. So,
Right. Right.
I mean, I mean, I've listened to my grandmother, my grandfather, I've listened to my aunts and uncles. I mean, back in the olden days, our families have stayed married for years upon years until they died, and they truly took till death to do us part seriously. Now we do until I feel like I'm over you, you know.
Right.
So you never weather the storm. So how are you going to tell me, um, girl, you need to leave him? If he did that, I wouldn't put up with that, and then you got the male perspective of it. Man, she ain't doing this. You need to go. So that's that peer pressure. And so you got to realize, this is your relationship. This ain't theirs. They may think sleeping with somebody on the first night is a whole thing. That might not be for you. That might not work for your relationship. If it does, great. If it doesn't, then design your own.
And
Relationships are not one size fits all.
But the ones that be sitting there telling you, "Oh, she this, this, and this," be the same ones that be coming behind you trying to talk to them later
Mhm.
on. Oh, well,
Mhm.
Bri, he was, how he can be, but I ain't like that. I was trying to tell him, but you know what I'm saying? It's like that's how they do.
Right.
So I mean, I mean, that's true fact though. I mean, again, just keep in mind it's you and this other person in this relationship, not everybody else, right? So you guys set up what you expect. You guys set the rules of what you want it to be like, and you grow from that. That's how it works. Not, listening to what somebody did on TV or some
Right.
movie or
Right.
something like that, because again, that's not reality. um it's I saw something and I can't really um quote it per se, but
Mm.
it was this lady that was on TikTok speaking about just how we as men want women to go back to the old days of how women were when their grandmothers were with
Mm.
their grandfathers,
Mhm.
and the things that the way they treated them and this, that, and the other. But she showed some examples, and I mean, mainly it's because our society and the way we are is not set up like it was back then either.
Mm-mm.
The
No.
men now are not, we are not doing what our ancestors were doing before us.
Yeah, but I
You know,
also say on top of that, yeah, the men aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing, but as women, we aren't either.
true. That is
You
true.
know, and I mean that's a whole another subject of where the women have taken on the role of head of the household.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
because they've taken on head of the household, they've had to get into that masculine energy, and that's all they know is hustle, 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 and I'm the boss, I'm a boss, I'm this, I'm that, and
Hmm.
I'm I get it because I was there until I realized that that's not how God intended for me to be, and ended up finding that feminine side of me. And can I still be a boss and be feminine? Absolutely, I can.
Absolutely, she can, y'all. Yes,
I can
she can.
still be, I, I mean, if we're gonna air our dirty laundry,
I wasn't saying it for that, but okay.
I mean, we're gonna, about us, but um, I serve you,
Hmm. I do
and
too.
I don't have a problem doing that, but then in return,
Hmm.
you treat me like a woman. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah, I don't we're probably two anomalies, and that's I'm pretty sure people would wonder, well, what do they mean? How is their relationship? How do they break? And one day we probably should break that down. But yes, I do totally live in my feminine, and I try to serve you as best as I can.
And you do that extremely well, especially with situations when it come to me, because I am not the easiest person
Mm,
to get, and I will admit that. So
mhm,
there you go. You don't have to
mhm.
dive into that. I will put myself out there like that. But no, this has been great. I think that this topic right here is because so many times we look at what we consider as a good relationship, right?
Right.
He's opening the door for me, he's calling me in the morning, and he's doing all these other things. Okay, but what about the things he's not doing? And what are we ignoring the red flags? And it's not to bring up the negative, but it's also to bring in, hey, if this is making sense to you,
Forget all
you
of
might
what he's
yeah.
doing. Forget of all of what he's doing. Where's your headspace?
Right. Right.
What
True.
does he do for you mentally? Some
Right.
people don't think about that. Oh my God, he looks good, or oh my God, he's good in bed, or oh my God, and I'm like, yeah, does he bring me peace? Does he support me? Is he my biggest cheerleader? Those are
Yeah.
things I think about.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Yes, I. Yes, yes, I am. I will say
you
that.
make me do things that I don't think about doing, but yeah,
Right.
you are. Mhm.
Yes, but I definitely. But again, I mean, and I'm gonna just say this, and fellas, I know you're gonna. I know I'm gonna get some crazy emails about it. Oh, B, you getting smooth, you getting real soft over here. But let's just be real. When you know this is the person that you want to be with, this is the person that you know you're gonna go all out for that person.
Mhm.
There's not gonna be a limit, and I don't mean financially, because that could easily get, because misunderstood, like, oh, he's buying this, he's buying that. No, it could be the simplest things, right? It could be the simplest
Mhm.
thing with just writing down your thoughts on a piece of paper and leaving it somewhere where she can find it.
Which you did.
Ah,
Which you
yes,
did.
yes,
Yes. And
right.
I think we're gonna talk about that at some point where who makes the money, where the woman makes the paper
Mm-hmm.
the ego of the male and the female. But
Mm-hmm.
it for me, you just doing the simple things like writing me I still have it. You wrote me a letter and you gave me my favorite candies and,
Mm-hmm.
you know, yeah, and you gave me great conversation. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Mhm.
Well, thank you.
You're
And with
welcome.
and with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is another on a high note. On a high note, we gonna
Oh my
end this
gosh.
one. So, but no, seriously, thank you again, Rain, for being a part of the show as always. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and until next time, we'll catch you next time.
Signing off.